When Karen felt that it was almost time to give birth, she and her husband, Frank, drove to the hospital immediately. She was in labor for 48 hours before she finally gave birth. But when the baby was out, the doctor immediately turned pale. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video with your friends. The nurses quickly took the baby away, telling Karen that they needed to do some tests to make sure the baby was okay. Karen and Frank were not even able to get a good look at their baby. What was happening and what could go wrong? It took hours before they heard from the doctor again. The doctor apologized and told them they needed to run more tests on the baby. Karen begged to see her child, but the doctor told her it might be too dangerous for the baby. Frank asked what he meant, but the doctor could not give them further details. This made Frank mad. The doctor immediately called for security after the threats and had to escort him out of the building. A team of doctors went to Karen's room for questioning. They told her they needed to get more information. Most of the questions were about her pregnancy, and Karen started to worry that she did something wrong while she was carrying the baby. Karen felt like she was being put on trial. She felt the pressure and nobody was by her side. A lot had happened before and during her pregnancy, but she was scared to say them out loud. Did her lifestyle put her baby at risk? Rose, one of the doctors, noticed that Karen was uneasy. She could tell that Karen was hiding something. When the other doctors left, Rose stayed behind to make sure Karen was okay. She then told Karen that if she did not want to share, she should not. Then, Rose reminded Karen that they needed the information to get answers on how to save her baby. Any information she chooses to withhold may be the key. She then assured Karen that she had nothing to fear. They just need that information to help save her baby. Karen felt comfortable around Rose and began to tell her story. She happened to live a wild lifestyle before she met Frank, drinking and partying a lot. Frank was the one who managed to slow her down, and around that time, she unexpectedly got pregnant. She found out about the pregnancy when she was already 3 months in. She thought she just gained weight. During those months, she still had a few drinks now and then, but it was not as bad as before because Frank would monitor her. During the pregnancy, Karen often had stomach cramps. They were so bad, but when she went for a checkup, her old doctor told her that everything was all good. So Karen thought that those painful stomach cramps were normal when you're pregnant. Rose found it strange that Karen's doctor did not acknowledge the painful stomach cramps. She tried to retrieve the past tests and found something. A lot of information was redacted, and these were tests that were conducted by a doctor who got fired a month ago. Rose knew she had to get to the bottom of this. She called Karen's current OB/GYN and asked about the test results. The doctor reassured Rose that although the baby was a special case, everything about the baby was generally fine. But they had to find out if it could survive the night without being taken care of. This meant that Karen can't go home yet. She had to stay in the hospital for the night. Karen did not resist. She knew it would be best for her and her baby if she cooperated with the doctor. The truth is, Karen had other intentions. She has not seen her baby, and she intends to get out of her room later to look for her baby. Karen could not believe the hospital was keeping her away from her firstborn child. She had to know what was going on. So when the nurse did her last round, Karen sneaked out of bed. It was time to finally get some answers. She sneaked to the floor where the nursery was. When she got there, the room was locked. Karen needed a key card. Karen knew she could get a key card from the hospital's security room. She planned to wait for security to do their rounds so she could quickly grab a spare key card. Her plan worked. With a key card in her hand, nothing can stop her from getting to her baby. Karen quickly heads to the nursery and breathes out a sigh of relief when the door opened. She had to go through the names of every unit. As Karen went around the room, she felt frustrated when she could not find her baby at all. Then she noticed something in the back of the room. There was a special unit there. The doctor said they were running tests. If there was something wrong with her baby, they must have placed the baby in the special unit. Karen walked over to the area unit and immediately fell onto her knees when she saw the name of the baby. She started crying and screaming when she sees her child. She was suddenly overwhelmed with emotions that she no longer cared if she got caught. It did not take long for doctors and nurses to come running into the nursery. They saw Karen on the floor next to the special unit. The doctor quickly checked on the baby while the nurses checked on Karen. She was in total shock. Karen demanded an explanation. She wanted to know why her baby looked like that. The doctor sighed and told her this was the reason why they did not want her to see her baby yet. They had to run tests to get the answers and were still waiting for the results. Karen gets even more upset when she heard that they still have no answers for her. She started causing a scene, which made them call security. Karen was given a sedative and locked in her room for her safety. The sedative did its job of making Karen fall asleep, but when she woke up the next morning, Karen was just as anxious as she was last night. She could not stop thinking about her baby. The baby did not look good at all. Was it all her doing? When the doctor came in later, he had a very serious look on his face. He tells Karen that she should call Frank to discuss the test results. But the doctor also had a condition. Both of them had to stay calm or else they would have to deal with security again. When Frank arrived at the hospital, the doctor was waiting. Rose brought in the baby. When Frank saw the baby's face, he immediately confronted Karen, asking her what she had done. Frank started to think that maybe the baby was not his. Karen assured him that she had done nothing wrong and that he was the only one she was with at the time. Then she asks the doctor if they can do a DNA test to prove that Frank is the father. The doctor agrees to her request. He secretly thought that if Frank gave his DNA, it would be a great help in figuring out what was wrong with the baby. After getting Frank's DNA sample, he informed them that it will take just a few hours for the results to come in. When the results came in, the doctor had Karen and Frank called in again. Everyone was nervous and you can feel the tension in the room. If Frank was not the baby's father, what would Karen do? The two were hardly speaking to each other. The doctor cleared his throat nervously as he opened the sealed envelope. When he read the results, his face paled. Frank was immediately concerned when he saw the doctor's reaction. The doctor told them that Frank was 100% the father of the baby. The shocking thing is that the baby had no DNA coming from Karen. Everyone was confused. How could that be possible when Karen delivered the baby? Rose and the doctor had no answers for this, but they assured the couple that they will figure it out right away. The doctor then thought of doing a hair test to be sure. They took a hair sample from Karen, Frank, and the baby. This will take another couple of hours, but the doctors are hopeful that they will get clearer answers from this test. Karen was in denial. Why didn't her baby match her DNA? She started claiming that the baby must have been swapped. The doctors say that the baby has Frank's DNA, so they are sure that he was not swapped. She kept saying the baby isn't hers as if she has gone mad. Frank tried to encourage Karen to care for and keep the baby. Rose also told her that the baby is healthy and did not have any life-threatening illnesses. But Karen refuses to accept that the baby was hers. The doctors and Frank decided to let her release her feelings first. When Karen calmed down, Rose suggested to Frank that he take Karen home for the night and that they both have a good sleep. Karen should not be making any big decisions in her current state of mind. Frank agreed and took Karen home. That night, Frank tried to talk some sense into Karen. He tried to convince her to keep the baby and take care of him. It was his baby boy after all. There probably must be a mistake in the DNA test, that's why she and the baby did not match. The next day, Karen and Frank returned to the hospital, eager to see what the hair test revealed. When they entered the doctor's office, the doctor had a nurse bring the baby in. He starts to tell the couple that their baby is perfectly healthy. It turned out that the baby had a rare hair disease, but the doctor explained that it would go away slowly in time. There was also an explanation for the first DNA test. It turned out that the lab did not take Karen's DNA, so she was not used as a basis at all for a match.